Welcome to the Friday edition of Dominion Sport right here on Dominion Television. I am Paul Abe Toluwanimi, top of the morning to you. And let me welcome you to the most exciting show, Dominion Sport. We'll be talking sport on the go this wonderful morning from the local front, the world of transfer ever buzzing in the MPFL. Also, we'll be taking a dive straight into the AFCON. Our games are very much available for today of the AFCON. Also, we'll be taking a dive straight into the camp of the Super Eagles as they have landed in Marrakesh. Training ongoing and the final training tomorrow by 5 p.m. I mean, tonight by 5 p.m. It's the time for the final training. They take on the Desert Foxes of Algeria. It's going to be a big test for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Also, we heard that Wilfred Ndidi, the captain, has said something about paying the winning bonuses for the team if they don't get payment by the end of today. Also, we'll be taking more stories from the European front as Arsenal played out a goalless draw against Liverpool. All this and more on the show. I have Samson Balogun, the man with unbiased analysis and also undiluted report. Top of the morning to you, Samson.
Well, a beautiful morning to you, Toluwanimi. It's really nice to be here to talk sports, just like we do. This is Friday, and definitely, they say weekends are for actions, weekdays are for reactions. We've done so many reactions, and we are moving into that part of the week where actions take place. Yes, we've seen a few of them. PSG played yesterday. Liverpool against Arsenal. There were a lot of interesting games. Real Madrid won by 2-1. I mean, fantastic games right there. And some claimed some games were boring, some games but then, all in all, you see, the most important thing is, no matter how boring you play, were you able to get the result? I mean, it's quite important because after all the sexy football you are playing, the fluid, free-flowing football, what matters is how much of that, amounts to points, how much of that amounts to trophies. And that's exactly what was missing for Chelsea that got Maresca kicked out of the team. I mean, you were playing good football, yes, we understand, but how many of that has translated into 3 points? Yeah, you won some trophies recently, about 2 of them, but then fans are insatiable. The moment you give them something, they want more. Okay, you won the Club World Cup, the Conference League, and people were saying, look, well, maybe we can get the UEFA Champions League. Maybe it is time for us to challenge for the title in the EPL, but unfortunately, he could not muster such challenge, and that's what got him out of the job. But let's see what will happen over the weekend and see how some other teams can actually gather points to place them strategically for the league title.
I was often seeing, the training with Liam Rossino with the Chelsea team, and it was all, agitated. You could see the spirit. You could see how he wanted the team to play during training. And I think, should we expect something fantastic, from the new manager of Chelsea?
Well, good or bad, Liam Rossino, in his first few games, is either he struggles before he gets to stamp his authority on the team, or he gets it square away, and then things begin to work well for him. And if you get it quite wrong in the beginning, that must mean that the players are finding it difficult to adapt to his new style of play. And if you get it quite well at the beginning, it will also mean 2 things. It could mean that the players are willing to play their hearts out to make sure that, yes, we want to show you why Maresca wasn't meant to be in charge. And the other one is, if the approach is bringing suits every of the players in the team, then it will be quite easy for them to adapt and then play good football for him, and then eventually they get to win games. But all in all, I think it's going to see quite a challenge working with some players. Definitely, a lot is at stake. We were talking about the fact that the coach is not even in charge of how many minutes a player can play. The medical team will say, we have released James for you into this game. You cannot play more than 50 minutes. And after 50 minutes, even if your team is still struggling and the player is still the best player on the field of play, he has to be taken out of the team. And people will be questioning why such player was withdrawn. But you don't know exactly what is going on. And even it's just common sense that, if a player is coming back from injury, there is a limit to the minutes you give to them on the field of play. You have to be careful so that they don't strain their sprained ankles, this and that, hamstring, and some other kinds of injuries that could come due to stress, right? So the coach will have to withdraw them, and people will begin to question. These people are not robots; they are human beings too. Just like you get tired when you do your normal day-to-day activities, they also get tired, and we have to also consider that too. That did not work quite well with Enzo Maresca, but will Liam Rossino be able to work with this and see? Well, the club has quite an expanded squad. and every of the player really has to play. But the most important thing is, of all the players in the team, how many of them are really, they have the CV to be a Chelsea player with the kind of expectation. I, for one, will cancel about 5, 6, 7 players in that team that really should not be there. They have no business. If Fulham could release Tosin Adarabioyo, I don't see what he's doing at Chelsea. I mean, with all the injury crisis we have seen with Wesley Fofana, I don't think there are some players, but they are Chile too. These are players originally should not be in the team. Axel Disasi, why? I mean, as how? But the point is, someone wanted a large squad, recruited a lot of players. But how many of them are really useful to the coach? How many of them are quality players? Because if you want to challenge for titles, you bring players that can challenge for titles. And if you want to be one of the teams in the EPL, you buy some of the players in the EPL, not quality players in the EPL. So that's the approach.
Right. Let's see how far Liam Rossoneri can move on. With Chelsea right there. Let's take more stories from the local front this wonderful morning as the world of transfer update is coming through from the MPFL as Niger Tornadoes FC have completed the signings of Ibrahim Abubakar from Remo Stars FC and Baba Musa Wood Jones from Mia Kunkele United. Something about to go. Niger Tornadoes are racking in stars at this point in time, looking to reinforce more firepower into the second half of the season.
Well, I think that's what every team does, any league, anywhere around the world. You even when you feel like you have it all, you still have to. There are some players in the team that really need backup, right? You know that this player is doing excellently well. If he gets injured, who comes in for this player? Those are the things people do look at. We were talking about our shooting stars the other time, and we were talking about some players. Oh, if this player is injured, what will happen? And I mean, we have talked about Sadiq that each time he's not on the field of play, shooting stars struggle. They struggle a lot when it comes to having a player that can actually prove is an out-and-out striker on the field of play. They have other players too, but do they match Sadiq in terms of quality? I would say hell no. But then, even Ismail Ayodele on the flank, Promise Awosomi on the other, Kabiru Tijani, Ayobami Jr. I've not seen situations where all these players are not on the field of play and he has been able to bring players who can actually, if not better, at least do the same as they would do on the field of play. But away from there, we are talking about a team that has actually, signed a few players and said, look, we want to strengthen the team, we want to bring in more quality players. What this says about you as a team is you understanding that there's a problem or there might likely be a problem. So how do we solve this problem before it becomes another major problem? Because we have seen teams dwindling performance in the league not because the coach is bad, but because he doesn't have the players the right set of tools to get it done. And support from the management also includes getting the coach the kind of players that really need to work with
to fit the
system. And congratulations to them. They have signed quality players. Maybe they can get one or two more. Usually in January you get one or two players to show up the ranks, and that might likely be the case. They might likely get one or two more. But then usually when you buy players like that, who are you letting go? And it's not just that you are sacking players. I mean, this is the only place where I get to hear it and it gives me a headache that a player has been sacked. This is not civil service. That's the mentality. I think I've always said it.
Yeah, you said it.
That because state governments, run football in the country,
you hear some
they think it's civil service where someone can just be told to go home. I mean, this guy has a contract of 3 years. And when you sack these players, do you give them what an entitlement should be? If, for example, Chelsea decides to let Axel Disasi go tomorrow, who has been training with the under 21s for about 6 months now, if he's to leave the team, every dime that is on that contract has to be paid in full restitution. I mean, in fact, you have no reason because you know the law, you know the rules. You just have to get it done. And that time you can say, look, we don't want to work with you again. Your account has been credited. You can go. You are free. So your contract, your papers are given to you. You are released from that team. So you can work with your papers somewhere else. In Nigeria is the only place where players' documents are delayed because the player decides to go, you are not releasing the document. I mean, as how now? I mean, players are not meant to die. I've seen employers sometimes, especially in the landscape. I think it only happens in Nigeria. I don't know if it happens somewhere else. An employer is sad because someone is leaving. I mean, how? He's not meant to die there. He doesn't own the company. So people are meant to come and go. So when someone says, oh, I want to go, you let them go.
Definitely.
I mean, you can easily replace this person. At least that's the problem. If you underpay, right? You know that by the time you want to get someone of that quality, you have to pay more.
Pay more.
Okay, so they don't want to pay more. So some people are tied down. Sometimes they sweet talk. Sometimes they threaten. Or the use of force. But this has to stop in the sporting phase, right? Players, they don't have a very long career. As a civil servant, you can do 35 years or 30 years and say, oh, I'm still in service until 65 or 70 now. I think it has been increased. But for a player who started playing professional football maybe at 19, will likely, especially an African player, does not have more than 15 years to play football. And the 15 years might not even be active. It might just be 10 active years and the rest will be what the Yorubas will call jeo. You will just be moving from one place as a journeyman footballer here and there. So you might not really earn so much money, but because you still have passion for the game, you keeping on to play. But that does not mean that someone should now threaten your career. I mean, we have seen players whose careers were wasted in the local league, who could have actually traveled. I'm usually a player, someone who loves it when players stay and enjoy football at home and they get paid handsomely well. But when you see a star in the making and you feel like this guy deserves more than he's getting, I mean, my friend, if you have your passport, I mean, get it done. Just go.
Just go.
So that's what I say, man.
All right, we hope for the very best for Niger Tornadoes with this new signing. Let's hope that they can shake up the ranks for their team and also get the goals and the ball rolling in for their team. Moving on swiftly, let's take more stories from the camp of the Super Eagles. The captain of the side, Wilfred Ndidi, said, "I've been pushing the team to train and play the game versus Algeria. I've been doing this since the second game. I've now made a commitment to the staff and the players that I will personally pay the bonuses if the authority fail to pay before Saturday." Samson Balogun this is not a news that we want to hear at this point in time. We have been talking about it, since Monday, and we're still talking about it today, and the game is tomorrow. Samson Balogun, I tend to disagree with the captain, Wilfred Ndidi, saying it's going to take on the payment, for the team. I think it needs to go back to ask Johnny Mikel Obi what happened in recent times at this point in time. But for you, Samson Balogun, getting this news at this point in time is not the best for the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Well, I think I would really love if he pays, if Wilfred Ndidi pays.
Samson Balogun, why?
I have my reasons.
Quickly.
You see, when John Domi Mikel made that assertion that at the point he had to cough out some money
for flights,
to do this, to do that. Some people came out to dispute it until they showed them receipt, right? And some would say that was just a one-off. Could it have happened if not because there were itches there and there? But now that we have seen that since the first game of the tournament, these guys have actually made their, they've complained to the captain. Captain relayed his message to the team manager. Team manager spoke with, the FA and said, look, these players are saying we want our money to be paid as soon as each game has ended, and nobody has said anything since then. So if indeed it pays now, it further shows the gap. Of ineptitude, of what you will call failure of the Football Association, right? Of not being able to do what they are actually meant to do. You know the drill. I think I explained the process yesterday about things that should be done. You have qualified for a tournament. FIFA has given you the all clear. CAF has given you the all clear that you are playing at this tournament. So it's no longer news. Because the moment you won your last game, or maybe you even drew, you know that by points or by permutations, you have qualified, preparation for the tournament starts. That includes how much are we playing players per game, including bonuses. So you know that if we win this game, each player is working.
You already know that this is what you're working with.
I mean, it's no rocket.
It's not a debate that we're just thinking about. We know already.
It's common sense. This is what you should do.
It's what we know.
So what part of the plans? That's part of the plans. You also, I spoke about knowing where the players are staying. Oh, what about the logistics? What's taking them from? I mean, these are things you would have prepared for before the tournament. I mean, it should be even months before the tournament. You must have ironed that out. Maybe a month or two. You must have known. Oh, we are staying so hotel. We are doing this. We are doing that. These are things we expect. Oh, if we move from the group stage to the next phase and we have to move to Marrakesh just like they did, where are we moving to? Right? All that must have been provided. You are not going there that, we have arrived, let's now be looking for a hotel. No. As long as that was not done when you go to Morocco, it means that what will be paid to the players must not be prepared for when you go to Morocco. It must have been done away from home.
Way from home.
Right? This player said, "Oh, look, we are not taking transfers because usually they would deceive them into don't worry, we'll send you." They said, "Bring cash to Morocco. Give us our cash." I mean, I don't think cash is that scarce for you to take to Morocco. And yesterday someone said, "Oh, we are already taking care of it. It is being disbursed right now." Yeah. And from then till now, the money was crawling from Nigeria to Morocco.
I'll ask a question quickly. Now, have the NFF and everybody in charge of this system, have they seen this statement, and how are they feeling hearing that a player is saying single-handedly he would pay the winning bonuses? Are they comfortable listening to this at this point? Is this not a slap on the African big name, the big house of Nigeria, as we all call it?
You see,
the giant of Africa.
You see, I will say these very quickly, Yoruba, and I will try as much as possible to paint it in English so that people would understand. You see, Yorubas will say there are some people that really do not care about what they do. One, it's you. One, right? They are shameless and do not care about what people will say.
I agree.
Right? The NFF is shameless.
I agree with that statement. If I'm going to agree with you on anything this morning, is that what shameless?
So and they do not care. If you like drag them from now till tomorrow, nobody really thinks that there is an image somewhere that needs to be protected. It's not really about the FA anymore. It's not really about the Sports Commission anymore. It's about Nigeria as a country. Nobody mentioned the Sports Commission without mentioning Nigeria.
It's Nigeria. It's Nigeria. It's Nigeria.
So how do you do business? You see, it's when an investor is coming into your country, for example, they meet one person out there, a singular Nigerian, and it messes up. They will say Nigerians do this.
Do this, That's the word. That's the statement.
And if for any reason you meet one Nigerian that does well to you, they will say, "Oh, Nigerians are really nice people." We have seen people say that before. And we have seen people say the other side of things. Yeah. So now people will think, "Oh, if you go to even their government does not pay them on time. So if we get a contract with them, if Nigerian government does not pay Nigerians on time, now as an external investor." What will happen to you? So it's a very bad image we are creating, and the saddest part of it is that this is not the first time. It has happened
the second time. It's not going to. I'm
not
sure it's going to end.
We have seen people like Peter Fregene. We have seen old players who have said, "Oh, we were owed so amount of money in 1985. This is 2025 for crying out loud." I mean, this is 2026, and someone is still being owed for as long as that.
1990 something.
There was a time. There was a time. I think Chioma Ajua was compensated by the Lagos State government. What the federal government should have done, they failed to do. The Lagos State government took it as a responsibility to get it done. Now it's a big slap, and that is because there is no continuity. Aside from continuity, I think there is a lack of responsibility amongst the elite. What I mean by that is you find yourself at the corridor of power. You have made a promise and you spent 4 years. Maybe you just had 2 years left on your term before everything finishes. You had 2 whole years, that's 24 months, to get your promises down to the people. You failed to do it. Another administration comes and says, what exactly did he say?
So
that's the area of continuity. So they push that aside and they're thinking of something else. Right? Because there was the time this administration promised, I think, $15,000 US dollars to some people, and people were already hailing, I think, Ajibade, about Rasheedat Ajibade. Oh, Mama, you don't get money now. You say, this money when they talk, it never reach my hand. I mean, what does it cost you that within the space of 1 week, this is sorted out? God knows what will happen to the $15,000 US dollars now, because you have not heard anything about it since then. Don't be shocked if by next year, a certain assistant to Shola comes out to say that $15,000 we talked.
We have not been 2028. All right, time to definitely. If we keep talking about the situation like this, we're going to spend so much time. But I just hope that this is sorted out before the end of today, because Wilfred Ndidi has given a statement saying, if it's not sorted out by the end of today, I'm going to make payment for my pause. I was wondering, maybe what money is Wilfred Ndidi making that he has so much to pay
these guys,
the players?
When I said they don't really care about how much, they just don't want to be cheated. How much do they pay? Most of them earn 60, 70, 80, 100,000 pounds or euros every weekend. So what's 15,000, 10,000 to them? These people charter private jets to come home. And if you check, it will cost you maybe 3 or 4 of them about 50 to 60,000 to come home. On a private jet, depending on the class, it could cost 30, 20
or more.
Or more, depending on which one you are coming with. If you spend that amount of money to come, what will it cost you to say, oh, just leave the 15,000 or 20,000 you want to give me? So it means that they don't want to feel cheated. So if anything is due to me, give it to me for crying out loud. That's the statement they are trying to make.
All right. Come on, we just hope for the very best for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Remember, they have a big game against the Desert Foxes of Algeria tomorrow, so make sure you're rooting for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Now, quick one, why not go to the comment section on YouTube? Why not drop your predictions ahead of this one, and you stand a chance to win something on the show right here from R Square Electronics. They have promised that they're going to give out something massive, to the fans for correct predictions for the big game ahead of the Super Eagles of Nigeria at the offgoing AFCON. Let's take more stories quickly because of our time. Cameroon are going to take on host nation Morocco, and we have Mali against Senegal. Samson Balogun, let's start off with the big game, Cameroon against Morocco. Actually, all the quarterfinal games are actually big. Cameroon against Morocco, we have not seen so much, from the Manchester United star man himself, Brian Mbeumo, but other players are making it tick, for the indomitable Lions. And also Morocco, are playing a free-flowing football. Brahim Diaz, Achraf Hakimi back in the team. We see some stars. Sofiane Amrabat also in the team. For you, how do you see this game pan out for both teams, and who are you sticking with for this one? Quickly.
I think on this one, I'll go with Morocco. Not because Cameroon, they have not done well for themselves to get to this stage of the tournament. Definitely, we know at this time, boys will be separated from men. And that has been done already. Because if you check, all the names left at the tournament, they are usually the big names you would expect to be here. And it's not strange that some of them are here. Cameroon, Morocco, Nigeria, Ivory Coast. These are teams you usually expect to be here. But one thing is clear. If it gets to this stage, a team capitalizes on an error made by the other one, right? So the only thing that separates two big teams is the fact that you're able to concentrate for 90 minutes. Stay thick in defense, you coordinated in midfield, and get the job done on the other hand, which is the attack. So once you're able to get all that correctly, you are able to stay off any form of trouble from the opposition side. That does not mean they are not also putting in the effort. But who gets the first hand, gets to win the game. So it doesn't matter how many goals you score. It's about the level of consistency. Okay, and Morocco, when you check how they play, they have not really had any form of scare so far in this tournament. Going into games, they were really bullish as the host. They play robust football, quality football they play, and not to take anything away from them, you look at the quality of players in that team. Most of them are doing excellently well with their individual clubs, and you will see that there are players that are currently being missed, sorely missed by their various teams. So it's going to be a dicey one between these two teams, and I see Morocco, because of how compact they are, and the kind of football they currently play, they might just outclass. If you check the Cameroonian team, they still have another Onana in the team. Yes, they got rid of Onana, but there's just the change of name. Onana has not left them, and that just might be another crisis. You see, when you have players like Brahim Diaz, Sofiane Amrabat shooting at you sporadically for 90 minutes. I mean, if you are a goalkeeper that fumbles, one of those shots can easily, get past the line. But I don't see Morocco conceding. If they concede, it might just be a goal. But I see them scoring at as much as 2 goals against.
So your prediction is on Morocco?
2 goals to 1.
2 goals to 1. All right. Mali, Senegal, quickly.
Mali, Senegal. I think Senegal, people overrate Senegal as we speak, judging by the precedents, what they've done in the past, especially at the last AFCON. People expect them, but I have not really seen that aura in them to be champions of the tournament.
But against a side like Mali, who has not scored, a goal, except an own goal, they struggled on draws to get to this stage.
Well, you see, when it comes to tournaments, I will cite you an instance. Greece at the Euros.
I knew you were going to go to. I just knew you were going to go to Greece.
It's just. I think that was Euro 2000.
Yeah, 2000.
That was Euro 2000. Greece defeated Portugal in the first game of the tournament, 1-0. They did the same to them at the finals, right? So, and people were thinking, oh, they will struggle. By the next round, they will crash out. The final, don't worry. until they won the tournament.
Greece is even far long. Ivory Coast, the last AFCON.
So it's they were just like they tiptoed to the final, and they won it. So it's usually like that. It's not really about how much of sexy football you play. It's about how well you're able to grind out results in these games.
I agree.
And usually when these teams score one goal, you just realize that they're not really doing too much, but you are struggling to score against them because they know exactly what to do. They cut your supply chain. Right? You play good football in your defense till midfield. But what happens when you get to the final third? They find a way to cut it off. Because most of them will usually play maybe five at the back or 4 at the back with 5 in midfield. So the supply chain is usually, stifled so that passes don't get into the final third. And once that is taken care of, you be playing take the possession. They concede the possession. All right? Yeah. So eventually you don't get shots away, and by the end of 90 minutes, whoever scored first, get to win the game.
All right. Let's move quickly because of our time. Samson Balogun, the big one at Super Eagles Nigeria again, the Desert Foxes. How do you rate this game going into this big time for you? Eric Shields have done something for Start with the Super Eagles Nigeria. How do you see him set up his team going into this one? And also, do you think Algeria can stop the Super Eagles winning it again?
Well, when you said can Algeria stop the Super Eagles of Nigeria, I think it
just one goal considered.
It is possible, right? But I see it from a different angle.
Okay.
Algeria can actually carry the day by making sure, staying compact in defense, making sure the Super Eagles don't pose any form of threat in attack. Just like I explained with Morocco and
Cameroon.
They've been solid at the back, considered just one goal. But if you check that in juxtaposition to the Super Eagles, they have considered against Uganda, they considered one, against Tunisia, they considered two. I mean, they've been able to, but then that was corrected in the last game
against Mozambique,
right? They were able to stay compact in defense, even though they were a little bit shaky. But I think going into the game against Algeria, they understood the assignment. They were able to correct one or two. But if they go into that game with the same level of concentration.
Because Calvin Bassey mentioned that statement he said, they had to concentrate, because he also mentioned they lost concentration in the 75th minute. He mentioned the timing properly.
Against Uganda, if you check quite well, against Uganda, the goal was absolutely unnecessary. It came out of nowhere. Uganda was playing, yes, a little football, but that does not mean it warranted that goal. But they switched off, especially in defense. You saw that pass came out of nowhere, and the guy just... And another fear I have at this tournament is Nwabali. Every shot that has gone to Nwabali, unless the ones that are more or less like back passes, have ended up at the back of the net. Against Tunisia, he faced 2 shots, it ended up as a goal. The only clear-cut chance he got against Uganda, it was a goal. What will happen against a formidable opposition like Algeria? So that's why I encourage them, just like how Calvin Bassey said, concentration is key in defense. He's been playing alongside Shemilori Ajayi in defense, and then Bright Osai Samuel has been the revelation of the tournament. And I never expected Bruno Onyemaechi to be so good. Solid. He's been so defensively solid. In attack, it's been amazing. And you realize the fact that way, if he runs and tracks back, it will help the team. But if you run and leave that was what happened against Uganda. That was his space. That was Bruno Onyemachi's space. But he wasn't there. The ball got Shemilori Ajayi was helpless, and then they found the ball at the back of the net. So if the concentration, we understand that you are playing more or less like 5 in midfield, 5 in defense, because the moment the wing backs move forward, someone like Wilfred Ndidi will have to withdraw a little bit.
Or maybe Frank Oyeka.
The tank will come back to make sure that at least there are 3 people in defense. The rest can actually go forward. And the moment you have come back to your position, the midfielder comes back in to defend and see if they can stop the opposition from penetrating. So it's about concentration for you. I'm quite sure the Super Eagles of Nigeria will score. But how many would they concede?
That's a big one. That's a big one. So finally, your prediction?
Well, I think might just end up in a 3-2 encounter.
In favor of
Nigeria.
In favor of the Super Eagles. I think this is the first time Samson Balogun is leading on the Super Eagles side for the first time. So let's see if that can happen for the Super Eagles. So quick one yet again. And why not go to the comment section on YouTube, drop your predictions. R Square Electronics and Services are giving out something mouth-watering goodies, and drop your predictions and you win cash prizes. Let's see, how far you can win with R Square Electronics. Moving away from that, let me also inform you that Egyptian side, at the Pharaohs of Egypt are taking taking on Ivory Coast also on Saturday. Let's move away from that and let's talk about the Super Copa final on Sunday. Samson Balogun, fantastic goal from Freddy Valverde to give Real Madrid the first goal, and also Rodrigo finally getting on the score sheet, and also Andres Solot also for Atletico Madrid. But for you, the Spanish Super Copa final is upon us on Sunday. How do you see this game, for Madrid and FC Barcelona?
Well, if you look at Barcelona, one thing they've been able to do, their free-flowing football is still there. And in their last game against Atletico Bilbao, they were able to get 5 goals. I mean, that was massive. It was a thumping for Atletico Bilbao, more or less like a whitewash. But for Real Madrid, they've had to play a tougher opposition in Atletico Madrid, that has been doing well in the Spanish La Liga this season. 2-1, it ended. Yeah. But one thing was clear: the mental strength of the Real Madrid team was clear, right? They wanted it more than Atletico Madrid, and it was crystal clear. In fact, when they conceded, just after a few minutes, they realized the fact that let's just stick to it.
Let's stick to it,
right? Let's get another goal and then we seal it off. So, and they were able to, after that last goal, after the Rodrigo goal, it was more or less like, okay, let's just push it to the end and get it done. And that is self-determination of a team. There's a distinct difference between a team that wants to play good football. Yes, we understand every team they want to entertain their fans, but as a great team, how much results can you bring out? And when it becomes more important to win or get results, what can you do? That was what Real Madrid did yesterday. Aside from the fact that it was a derby game between them, they were able to get something really amazing out of it. And they had eyes on the goal, which is to win against Barcelona. And let's see what will happen. But I feel like it's going to be more of a challenge for them. If they are not able to contain Barcelona in midfield, it will be a disaster. It might just be a whitewash, like a 4-0 or 3-1 victory. But if they are able, if players like Jude Bellingham can actually, do what he knows how to do best, against a team like Barcelona, you need a player midfield that can hold on to the ball for at least 15, 20 seconds so that you calm down, and then the pressure reduces, the momentum is broken, and then you can play good football, and you can also entertain your fans and enjoy the game. And a player like Jude Bellingham, I think that is possible. So if he's in the game, and he's in the game, because it's two things, not just about attendance, it's about you being in the game and still being in the game at the same time, right? So if he's fully fit and on form, I think Real Madrid will give Barcelona a run for their money, and they might just win. But I'm tilting towards Real Madrid in this one. 3-2.
3-2. All right, that's the update coming through from the Super Copa final between FC Barcelona and the Galacticos Real Madrid. All right, let me inform you quickly, wrapping up the show, that Paris Saint-Germain picked up, the fantastic one over yesterday night. Fantastic one to see them. PSG are the winners of the French Super Cup. They defeated Marseille on penalties 4-1. All right, wrapping up the show, let me inform you that Arsenal against Liverpool, the game ended goalless, is now 6 points, behind Manchester City. Sam Balogun, let's wrap up the show on that. Arsenal could not pick up all 3 points against Liverpool. Going forward, how does this determine the title race between Arsenal, Manchester City, and maybe it's not over still for Aston Villa and Liverpool?
Well, it's not always over like that. Usually, sometimes there's an opportunity, and Manchester City, when the season started, Liverpool was somewhere up there. But unfortunately, they crashed. Meaning that you cannot have it all rosy for 38 games. Usually, there are times when you have your down moments. Arsenal have also had that this season. Manchester City is having a fair share of that. Aston Villa also they had a very big momentum. And I think they are dropping. Liverpool, one way or the other, got a draw against Arsenal. That might just be the turning point they need to actually muster a title challenge. But then it's a far distance between Liverpool and Arsenal. But between Manchester City, it's just 2 games. You just have to lose 2 games and then you find them right on top. Because if you check the goals, you would understand the fact that one way or the other, Manchester City also, they are trying to get something. The crisis with Manchester City these days is that they have struggled, especially when it comes to scoring against teams that defend so high on the pitch. So if they are able to get that done, maybe Tijani Rangers, just like the kind of goal he scored against Chelsea, might just be able to, get them out of this mess. But then they have a new player who can actually, break the defense with his runs, passes. Antoine Semenyo is a fantastic player. And I earlier before now, I expected him to have made that big switch to a bigger club, and that he has done. Let's see what he brings to that dynamic Manchester City team. Just because some players left, Pep Guardiola has been looking for players who can actually fill the void, right, and get things done for him. Maybe in Semenyo, he has a player that he has missed sorely, like a player like Riyad Mahrez.
All right, let's see how this title race is going to be for Arsenal, Manchester City, and Aston Villa. I say a big thank you to the producer. I say a big thank you to the crew and also everyone that watched us today. I say a big thank you to you. Thank you for logging in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing, and also thank you for dropping your comment. And if you're just watching, you have a chance to win something on the show, and the prediction is between the Desert Foxes of Algeria against the Super Eagles of Nigeria tomorrow. Why not drop your predictions and win something from R Square Electronics? They have cash mouth-watering prizes for you to win. Samson Balogun, a big thank you to you. The weekend, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it.
Definitely, there are quite a number of interesting games to keep you busy over the weekend, and the EPL, and well, till next week, the NPFL will be back, but definitely you have something to munch on over the weekend.
All right, stay blessed and enjoy your weekend. Bye for now.